How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm just a bit more of a chilled video. I'm just going to do a bit of gameplay on the Lake Kovd map, or Kovd, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Yeah, I'm doing the mission called Sites of Military Glory. You basically, if you've been driving around, you would have seen there's like 3 different bunkers, sort of little, yeah, like gun emplacements and stuff around the map, and that's one of the missions, to go and search all 3 areas. There's nothing really there when you get there, if I'm honest. Like, nothing that you find or collect or anything like that. It's just, I suppose, an excuse to go around the map. The first one in particular that I'm heading to now is a bit awkward to get into, but you'll see how I managed in the end. I brought the Taiga out, a couple of reasons. I did use the Taiga a tiny little bit the other day on this map, but I've not really used it a lot, and because that new TUZ has obviously got the mud tyres, they are good, and I still prefer the look of them and everything, but sometimes they can be more hassle than they're worth, and it might be worth just having, whether it's chained or off-road or whatever, just slightly narrower tyres. But the custom muds on the Taiga just really suit it well, and I do believe they do affect the handling a little bit. They do make the steering not shocking or anything, I think it's a little bit more like squirrely than, say, the chained or the off-roads or whatever. But yeah, I do like the Taiga, and I do enjoy these muds, especially in the snow. And I find this Taiga isn't really punished. This is another reason I sort of wanted to use it. It's not really punished like the TUZ-16 is. When it's got the muds on, I mean, it doesn't really slow this thing down. This feels pretty comfortable with these on. As you see, when I got here to this is like the first sort of bunker or military site. It's got like a load of what were they called? Like steel hedgehogs? Is that a thing? Things that block tanks, things that will block your damn truck. Yeah, they're kind of like dotted all along. So getting up here, like, I'm sure there is another easier way. Maybe if I went round the other way, there's probably an easier way down from the hills. But yeah, I ain't got time for that. So just launched myself at the rocks, kept it pinned and fingers crossed. So yeah, like, as you can see, just drive to like the yellow waypoint thing, and then that's it. It just takes it off the mission, and we're off to the next one. But like I say, it's a good little chance. Yeah, I probably could have climbed over those hills and came down that way. So that's about it. It's just like a bunker. Well, I assume there used to be a lot more guns and whatnot around. There is still a gun there. Well, probably a bit more than a gun, like a cannon or something like that thing. Yeah, so that's that one done. Now I'm going to fly off here. What I tried to do, I thought if I go slow, it might tip up and go on my nose anyway. I thought if I can go fast enough, I might land, but I didn't. So I brought the TUZ, brought the loaf along, just always have a loaf with me. Yeah, I fancied giving this a go just to see how well it could flip. Obviously, not only I've flipped the Taiga before with the loaf, but I could just wedge behind that concrete pyramid thing anyway. So yeah, I wanted to know how good this is, and to be honest, at first it kind of hesitated, but then yeah, sometimes when you first winch, it doesn't really do a lot, but if you let off the winch and put it back on, I sometimes feel like you get a bit more oomph out of it. And yeah, I've just noticed it myself. Like, I don't know, probably, I think it was since around the Rift update that you don't seem to get as much tension in the winch, but I don't know, there's kind of like, you can tap the button and yeah. That was going through the ice. The Taiga did go straight through, which kind of doesn't surprise me because the chassis got a nice bit of weight to it. And the tyres themselves, I believe these tyres are pretty weighty. They certainly change the centre of mass of the truck quite considerably, I think. I know they do sit wider than the chained, but it feels like more than just that's changed. It feels like they're actually heavier, and they put like pretty much all the Taiga's weight just right along the chassis. And it yeah, so it broke through that ice, but it actually managed to climb its way back out, which is pretty nice. That's the only sort of bad thing about the muds on this map, is when you're going along the ice, you have little to no steering. You're going to understeer like mad, you can oversteer and all sorts, but as long as you stick to like the white patches of snow rather than just the pure like blue bits of ice, you can still get pretty decent grip with these muds. So it goes a bit slow here for a second, but that's kind of how fast you'd be going, I feel, in a TUZ 16, a hell of a lot. Whereas this, generally, like I'm up into high gear now, and once you're getting over the bumps and whatnot, it's like I've now built my speed up, and it's just, I don't know, I like this thing on snow. If you've seen any of my reviews, if I ever roll anything up in the mountains, this is 95% of the time what I bring, really. May well bring a loaf with me as well, but yeah, it gives me a good chance. Like, I do like using this in the hills, and it's definitely a solid truck, without a doubt. So yeah, you get a few patches like this where some other people have said the same, but yeah, I do think the snow in this map is a bit, yeah, it's been dialed up a bit too much to slow you down, which, yeah, I don't mind completely, but like I say, it's just, there's no real extra challenge to it. It's just a bit slower, I think, than normal. But then again, you do get patches that are a bit odd. If in like White Valley, where you cut across from the garage to the airport, that section's always much more of a pain in the arse than you would think from looking at it. And yeah, so I suppose there is some patches, but they don't tend to crop up that much in the older maps, whereas this, like when I first started exploring this map, I basically just aimed my dolphin and loaf at the watchtower and drove at it, and then yeah, 10, 15, 20 minutes later, when I'm just crawling through snow at 1 mile an hour, I was kind of thinking like, so what's going on? It's like usually you can just point the loaf, the dolphin and loaf anywhere and just you go, whereas yeah, in the end it was like, it wasn't worth venturing off the road really. And at first I was kind of like, well, I don't know about this map, because if all I can do is drive along the roads, then what's the point? However, there is plenty of places that haven't got deep snow, and the one thing that really makes this map for me is that big like icy river in the middle. Kind of stretches across the map, and then it's got like smaller rivers like what I'm on now branching off from it, and between them you can basically smash through that fence as soon as you come out the garage, drive just over a bit of snow, and then you're on the river and the ice. And from there you can basically get like most of the way to wherever you want to go. Like even going to get the F750, you could use this river to get a lot of the way there, and then pretty much the rest of the way you can manage the road. So yeah, now I've discovered all the map and used that radar trailer and that, I do quite like this map. But at first it did get me a bit like, I was getting a bit impatient and a bit sick of how insane some of the snowy parts are. But I kind of know where they are now, know to just go around them, and yeah, there's still plenty of places you can go off-roading. I definitely think the breakable ice is like, they nailed it pretty well. I still think they need to tone down how it kind of, I don't know, your tyres don't really want to just get over it. You've seen it with the P16 when there was that piece of ice just under my truck, and it's like I couldn't run over it even though my tyres are massive. They're like some of the bigger tyres in the game really. On the P16 they're like 57-inch or something. But yeah, the ice is pretty damn good. When I just got stuck a minute ago and I was winching out, I was watching the ice, and you really can't tell where any fracture lines or anything are. It's like, but suddenly as you touch that bit of ice and break it, you can suddenly see it like snap off as a separate chunk. And yeah, I just think they've done a really good job. Like, I can't stop driving through the ice like I am now. And sections like this I think are pretty cool as well, because all the ice looks like it's already been broken before and it's kind of frozen back over, and you don't always know which bit's going to go. And like you can see there again, as soon as I'm winching into it, like they all break off as separate pieces, but before you actually get to that point, it's yeah, you never know really. And I think that's what makes a difference. I do believe there is a like an element of luck with the ice really, as in like each bit of ice is like a a little slab of ice and they're all connected together, and if you're driving along and your tyres are, for the sake of argument, on the middle of the slab of ice, you might punch it through into the ice, like into the water below, but you don't really go down that much. Whereas if your tyre is perfectly on a gap between, well, not a gap, but a join between two slabs of ice, then you're not only going to punch through it, but there's now nothing underneath to really stop you, and you dip in quite deep. And yeah, I just like it. It's a bit, it's pretty fun. It's a little bit risky, but yeah, that was the mission. It was a nice little drive looking across the map. Yeah, there is actually some good missions on here that are like nearer 10 grand and stuff, so I've got quite a few today. I've just been messing around so much. A lot of the rest of this gameplay, I'll admit now, is just me messing around. I'm going to go for a drive around the map. You're going to see the Loaf is a goddamn horse of a vehicle. Like, it was pulling off some serious shit tonight. So yeah, I drove up here, had a look at that. I was like, that's a pretty nice gun. I think my Loaf would like to have a look at that. So on my way with Dolphin and Loaf. Yeah, basically going to do a bit more like driving around the map. Brought a Bruce with me. You never know when you need a Bruce. You can see up front there's a Loaf and the TUZ-16. What I was actually planning to do was grab the TUZ-16, or Taz as I've been calling it, and yeah, I ended up getting a bit carried away. Obviously I seen another Loaf. Like, sod it, jump on Loaf. We're off some adventures. So, stuck another Loaf on the Dolphin and Loaf. Dropping this down, this was just like, the rest of the gameplay is sort of chilled out, but there's just different concepts and things that I can get a chance to talk about, like lowering that onto there. There's like the A-frame that you can see of the crane, that it's like an arm that the crane rests on, but that kind of went up into the cab of my TUZ, so now I'm pretty well hooked on there. It's not like completely there, it's clipping a bit, so it's not like absolutely anchored me on, but it kind of has a bit. I also sandwich my crane down on top of it, and yeah, now I'm ready to set off. I got to here and I was like, oh yeah, I probably should have done this after the ice, but sod it. We're going for it. I had no doubt that the Dolphin was going to punch through there, especially with two Loafs sat on it. I mean, the yellow Loaf, he did the right thing. He jumped forward, tried to do some weight distribution, and when it wasn't happening, he took one for the team. He dived off, so we didn't all roll. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, the Dolphin is a beast. It's got some serious power to it. Even though it says like the power to weight isn't full, it's a bit of a misleading stat, that really, because that TUZ-16 has got full power to weight, but it's, for example, nowhere near as powerful as the Dolphin. The Dolphin is just a lot heavier. But yeah, it's got some good old muscle, the Dolphin. Like, pulling itself out of that ice, it was still able to punch through in front of it, whereas a lot of stuff doesn't. I mean, Loaf's goddamn professional. Of course he starts. Told you, if you don't start, you ain't turning the key hard enough. But anyway, I was messing around trying to winch the Loaf back onto the Dolphin, and I knocked this off with my own crane. So I loaded it on this way, and this is the way I originally wanted to do it. I just couldn't be arsed. You know, you have to hold the D-pad to turn cargo. It's too slow. They need to speed that up. But I put it down like that, and the crane perfectly rests like on the roof, and then the back of the chassis. So this thing is absolutely anchored now. And when you look at it from the front, all you can see is just a set of tyres on the roof of Bruce. But apart from that, like, as you'll see throughout the rest of the video, that thing ain't coming off. It's yeah, stuck on there pretty damn solidly, especially that the crane's pushing down on it. So yeah, and again, this just more like concepts to play around with. I'm travelling with 5 vehicles at the minute, so I don't have to drive, say, 2 at a time. I know, to be honest, I didn't plan. Look at this, like, really? The one fucking tree in the middle of nowhere, and I almost hit the bloody thing. Yeah, if I'd known I was going to do all this when I set off, I could have just stuck a semi-trailer on the Dolphin and put 3 Loafs in the back if I wanted.
I've been addicted to you. Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one. You have been the one for
I was going to drive off. I was like, I can't do him like that. I've got to flip him over. I might need him later. Can't just leave him there on his side. And then I was like, goodbye, Loaf. It's been emotional. I got to it. My goddamn conscience. See me fighting it with the camera like, oh god damn it, Loaf. Get your ass on here. Let's go get up to some shit together. Of course I couldn't leave him behind. I tried. I managed for about 10 seconds, but just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it to the little beast. Look at him. He's no trouble. Yeah, I mean again. Look at Bruce. He's stacking on them vehicles and we're off. The thing I really like about Bruce is he's very capable as what he is. Like, he's got plenty of power. It's a 10-wheel truck, so it's got plenty of grip. It does have a big Bruce chin, but I don't know. It's like, it's just very good. It never hassles you really, unless you catch the chin, but they've made that a lot better, and as long as you sort of make allowances for it a little bit, yeah, it's just very good. Like, it never really stops, it never really moans. Like I said, grip's never an issue. It got all the way up the three quarry tests, like, no problem. It's just, yeah, I do like it. That's why I've still got it. Gotta have my crane truck. As you like, if you remember, I used to have the white Western Star as my crane truck, and that got retired the night I tested Bruce out. I do love the sound of that breaking ice as well. Like, just even the sound of it, you start thinking, oh, am I on a bit that's gonna go, or am I alright? See, normally I'd be in high now, and I try, it's probably in the video as well, but yeah, the Dolphin pulls Bruce just fine in high, but because I knew I was going through these sorts of bits, I wasn't really worried about Bruce tipping, because he's pretty damn good for not tipping. But as you can see, that Loaf is, like, he's leaning a bit. And to be honest, it'd be an easy fix. I could just stop, get in that Loaf, and then stick a winch onto a tree in front of me and drag myself. But I was kind of like, well, I want to see how well it hangs on. I've pushed the crane down into it, so we'll give it a go. As you can see now, I'm kind of heading, I suppose, to where you find the TUZ. But I'm going to go past that. What I wanted to do is, I'm heading to where the Tiger is, where I got to that third bunker. But I've not really shown you, like, any attempts of it yet. You know, like, there's a sort of cliff edge further up that's got a road along it, but it gets quite narrow in the middle. And honestly, well, you're about to see, like, the Loaf, it's like a goddamn action film. Yeah, I bloody love that cliff though. I've had so many things to do. I've not really had much of a play around with it, and then tonight I knew I was going to do some gameplay anyway, because I just wanted a bit more of a chill video. I've done like the reviews of the two new trucks, got the biggies out of the way, and yeah, I'm going to do a review of like the GMC pretty damn soon, because that's now got the all-wheel drive. I tried it out tonight and it's pretty nice, to be honest, so yeah, I'll be doing a review of that very soon. I noticed along this bit, I wonder if there's like ice under, you can hear the ice crunching, but I'm obviously already through the water, but it's like the bottom of the mud is frozen and you're kind of breaking through that. For some reason the Dolphin did go pretty slow there. Even Bruce ended up giving me a little nudge. I was going to go round. Oh, fuck you, tree. Look at me. Of course I'm not going round for a tree. I mean, the Loaf gave one a little slap. You ain't got time for that. As you can see though, the further I'm going, the more the Loaf is kind of jiggling over. Let's just say, he's jiggling over to the left, and I'm about to go over a cliff. Well, go along a cliff that drops off to the left. Good times. I believe I just stopped then. I put the fuel from the yellow Loaf into the Dolphin. To be honest, I was pretty ill prepared for this journey because, well, all I needed, what I would have done if I'd known I was going to do what I'm doing, is just stuck a Scout fuel trailer on the back of the Loaf and it'd just dangle out the back of the Dolphin anyway, so it doesn't even really matter. Yeah, so now we're at the cliff. And I came through here last time with the dolphin, and I had the loaf, but it was winched behind me, and the loaf had the radar trailer, because I was like radaring the whole side of this map. And obviously most of this cliff is fine, but it's this bit, it's this bit that'll get you, if anything. And obviously the dolphin's got slightly shallow steering, so having a quick look around. I wanted to have a little look around while I was here anyway, look at like what sort of width it is and that. That's what she said. Yeah, I was kind of umming and ahhing, like, well, I don't know. What I didn't want to do was a bit like it does when I cross that like rock river bridge thing on Northport and like bounce my tyre off the rock and skip left, because yeah, as you can see, pretty close, but tried and true. Floor it, fingers crossed, hope for the best. Works works often enough. So we made it through with a dolphin and loaf, of course. Unstoppable. I mean, I had to put his seatbelt on. Can't risk it when I'm going along the cliffs, but apart from that, job's a good one. So now, it's Bruce, Taz and Loaf's turn. I mean, Bruce got up there. Did scrape its chin a little, but got up there. So, as you can see, jiggling around like, Loaf, don't do it to me, Loaf. Just hang in. Hang in for another minute. I was like, oh no, Bruce is pretty wide, but he's also got his crane legs on, and they stick out to the side, so I can't, if I go nice and tight to the corner, I know I'm going to clip a leg. And then, like, oh no, speak to me, Loaf. Oh my god, what a goddamn professional. Almost shit myself, had to go winch a Loaf. I mean, when is the Loaf ever just not a goddamn good time all around? Caught him with a winch, Mission Impossible style. However, you see how the winch is clipping through the rocks? Like, if the winch cable was resting along the rocks, I'd get up here no problem, but because it's glitching through the rocks and there's kind of like a lip on the edge of the cliff, every time I winch it up, it just keeps hitting, like, yeah, underneath the cliff. So, I was trying. I tried my best, but I mean, look at him. He's doing goddamn sit-ups now on the side of a cliff. What an animal. But it's pretty goddamn caught. Tried jiggling it around. I probably cut out quite a bit there. Even got the crane out. I went to try and crane it, but because I believe the winch is already attached, it won't even offer me the option so I could like switch it from the winch to the crane. What I'd have to do is let go of the winch and then crane it, and I haven't, like, there wouldn't be enough time to be honest, I'd never, like, I suppose, I don't know if the crane had winch reached the floor. So I jiggled around, I was reverse. I mean, look, my rear left tyres are pretty damn close to the edge, considering it's leaning a bit, and once they start skidding, the whole back end will probably go. Look at that. Let go of the winch, re-winched, caught him in the middle. What a goddamn horse. Floor it, fingers crossed, hope for the best, but it's just not having it. Like, the winch cable just goes too far through the rocks, really, and it's just like, rather, yeah, than trying to pull him over the ledge, I'm trying to pull him through about 10 foot of rock. Always worth a go, though. See, just bearing in mind, how many of you forgot that the TUZ was even sat on my roof? Because I did for bloody ages. I mean, it just blends in pretty nicely. So I was trying to winch, trying to reverse, let a bit out, trying to hoover it back in, see if I just need to, like, flip it up over the edge of the cliff, and then I'll be able to drive up. But tried a lot of things, edited a lot of stuff out. I mean, look at this now. This is what separates the ponies from the horses.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh yeah!
I mean, what a goddamn horse of a vehicle. I didn't hear it re-winch. I honestly thought it had gone. I was like, oh, I'm going to see it rolling along the snow at the bottom. And then it made it. I mean, it just can't be stopped. It's like the goddamn loafinator. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You take a loaf with you. She'll see you good. See? We all thought it was brown bread, but it's the whole meal. You show her a length of winch. She grabs on with both hands and doesn't let go until the job's done, like a goddamn professional. Look at it. Took the words right out of my mouth. Exactly what I was going to say. Beep. That's all that needs to be said. I came back with the F750 because, like I said, the one thing I didn't really bring with me was plenty of fuel because I had no idea I was going to do this when I set off. I just went around the map collecting vehicles and ended up with like a 5-vehicle thing going on. Sent this on the way. I also wanted to try this along the cliff. I had a feeling it'd be alright because it's not the widest vehicle. And one thing I really do like about this F750, the steering is just perfect. It's funny because it shows you that they do know how to make good steering. Like, the low steering is perfect on scouts, like little vehicles. I'd have the low steering on everything. I'd still have it on trucks. But yeah, that F750 for, say, truck size stuff is just very, very, very nice. That's one thing I'm pretty happy with. Can't wait. Apparently there's a custom engine, and apparently there's a second map or something. I believe it's a second map to do with this first phase of DLC, and apparently there's a custom engine on that is for the F750 that should up its power and that a bit. So going along here, see, Dolphin turns, and once it's going, it's got like quite a deep steering lock for its size and stuff. So yeah, it gets me by pretty well. I'm pretty used to it. I do drive a lot of places in this beast. So going along here, I was interested because there was like a little narrow gap here. I remember coming up this way. I believe there might have been an upgrade up there. Yeah, I think it was. So I managed to get the Dolphin through here, but I got the Dolphin through when I was on the way up, like 3 or 4 days ago. But this beast, I wasn't so sure about. And you can see, by the way, the TUZ16 is hanging on in there just fine. Looks like it's leaning a bit, but as you can see from the roof of the TUZ, it can't lever over anymore because it'd now have to push the roof through the crane or lift the crane arm, and it can't do that. So yeah, this was the bit I was kind of interested in. I admit I did park the Dolphin in kind of a bad area, but you'll see why. It doesn't matter. Like, and I had a feeling this kind of thing would happen. The crane legs of Bruce are really not happy about this getting through this. Obviously I've tipped it to one side, so that, like, the left side of crane legs is getting through, but yeah, the front right crane leg is absolutely hooked on. Like, it was having none of it. But between the old Bruce winch and the Dolphin, I believe they've both got the advanced medium or advanced heavy, whichever one it is for these size, but the most expensive one, the one that's apparently the strongest. I used to think the twin motor heavy or whatever was the strongest, but when you actually read the advanced heavy description or whatever, it says it's basically the twin, it combines the twin motors and increased winch length. So yeah, it's the most expensive, so makes sense really. As you can see, so thanks to Dolphin. Oh, by the way, I drove the Dolphin, like, just up ahead is the where the Taiga and that is, and these are like the bunkers. I dropped the loaf off, I came back with the Dolphin, because originally I tried to get this through by itself, just by revving it. See, this is what I like about Bruce. Again, I've got a crane on, so those legs sticking out, they do catch things as well, but yeah, it's just got, like, I don't know, it feels very planted. Because it's got 10 tyres, there is a hell of a lot of grip. And yeah, even though it's pretty slow, it's got the advanced special gearbox in. I think because it's just like a pretty big vehicle anyway, I don't really feel that impatient with it, sort of thing. So, surprisingly, I managed to squeeze the old Dolphin up there. That's what she said. That's definitely some kind of euphemism. And then try getting the loaf up it. Funnily enough, these steps, they're just perfectly spaced to where, rather than jumping, say, the front wheels and then rears up, you have to do both at the same time. But the loaf's a professional. He just waited for me to get a better camera angle, get a good shot of him driving upstairs. I was like, oh yes, give me a go on that. See, that's all I came here for. Just so I could park the loaf in front of that and imagine I'm shooting down planes. Are you good, Dolphin? Seen any planes? Is that US Navy flying around? Trying to poach my goddamn aviation fuel. Loaf's on it. I mean, look at this thing. It's like, yep, my ass meat is pretty goddamn sore right now, but we're good. We made it. I mean, how glad am I that I actually had a conscience and I had to bring the yellow loaf with me. Have you, like, I left that bit in. You see, like, the aurora's pulsating. It's like, I've never seen it do that normally. Normally, then it just freezes like this, and then you can see the green bit changing a bit. But yeah, back then it was like going mad. I mean, look, shot me down a TU-Z16. That's why I brought Bruce for. That little 5 seconds. I wasn't even going to make this into a video. That's why the editing's a bit like, because I wasn't making it clean for a video. I was just, this was me time. I'd done my mission gameplay. I attempted some mission gameplay with the GMC, but I got a bit distracted, and yeah, again, I was like sort of abandoned using it for gameplay, so I just started messing around, brought a Navistar out and all sorts. I will do more gameplay though. It's just, to be honest, there's a lot of things showing you tonight is like concepts of like how you can get out of things. Obviously getting this Bruce up the steps, I reversed the Dolphin up close because then it changes the angle of the winch, and then when I drove forward it pulled the Bruce kind of up before it pulled it along, and that bumped it up the steps. But I get to this point and sadly, because it's got its little crane legs on, it's yeah, as you can see, like the front crane legs are just digging into that wall. And even though it's got a lot of tyres and a lot of grip, I'm digging a pretty decent hole underneath the steps. But yeah, like you can see from the angle, there's absolutely no way it's shoving them crane legs. That they like really do catch on stuff. And then there's a little fence at the top of it. So I'll just say, what you're about to see, like, never go full loaf unless you're loaf trained. Fortunately, I am a loafessional, but yeah, this is what you can do with a loaf. Stuck a winch on the back of Bruce, start hoovering the loaf underneath me. I mean, look at him. We're gaining some inches now. I mean, it's just a goddamn horse of a vehicle. Like, every time you need it to do something, it does it. I still haven't found anything it doesn't do yet, or it hasn't done. It's a 100% rescue record, even when it's the one dangling over a cliff. Well, yeah, I mean, I used the loaf. I lifted myself up. I got the front legs over the wall. I now winched to the middle of the loaf and the back because I needed a bit more height. Trying to jump the middle over. Now I've got a bit higher. I've got my front crane leg over that fence on the right now, which is what I wanted. Now I stuck a winch on the Dolphin. Started tipping up. What I'd probably do now, but I was in the middle, I was having the time of my bloody life doing this sort of thing. But if I say had the chance to do the same thing again, well, I have the chance. It's a matter of when, not if. I'd probably switch to the Dolphin now because I can. Like, I reckon the wind, like me pulling from the Dolphin, and I could go a bit further down the steps, etc. Like, I've parked the Dolphin where not all its tyres are gripping. But either way, I had a little go. I wanted to see if Bruce goes over the loaf or if he tips off to the side. But in the end, pop the loaf out. Change back to Bruce. Like you say, the front legs are over now, but you can see those front crane legs are now standing on either side of the steps, and it's basically lifted all my weight off it. So again, loaf's like, don't you do it, Bruce. Don't you scare me like that. I mean, again, the loafinator never stops. Got shit to do. It's got Bruce's to get up on bunkers. So we've still got them back legs to lift. Sticky loaf there. Had a quick go, just kind of show myself. Yep, like those crane legs are tipping the tight. I got a bit more grip there and went forward, but now we took like those rear crane legs. Not a chance. But stick a winch on the front of Bruce. Stick a winch on the loaf. Now he's going in. He's going in from the back. That's what she said. Well, look at him. What a goddamn professional.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
I mean, I'm having the goddamn time of my life over here. Of course Bruce got up there. Loaf's a professional. He doesn't stop till the job is done. See, coming up these stairs, I've noticed this since about the Rift update. I'm flooring it now. When I let off the accelerator a tiny bit, it jumps up. Try it with some things, it does work. Anyway, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Loaf's a goddamn horse of a vehicle. And I'll be back soon.